Hey there, friends. Grab a cozy spot on your couch, maybe a warm drink, because you're about to dive into a heartwarming story that's going to tug at your heartstrings and keep you glued to the screen. I promise you, this one's worth every second. Imagine this: a quiet evening in a small American suburb, the kind where fireflies flicker in the summer dusk and front porches are dotted with rocking chairs, when a faint smell of smoke wafts through the air, followed by a clatter of pans and a muffled cry of frustration. That's where our story begins, with a burnt pie, a flustered young woman named Ellie, and a single moment that changes her life forever. Have you ever had one of those days where everything goes wrong, but somehow it leads you to something, or someone, completely unexpected? That's exactly what happened to Ellie, and by the end of this video, you're going to find out how a simple act of kindness from her neighbor next door sparked an unexpected love that turned her world upside down. Stick with me, because I'm going to take you on an emotional journey filled with laughter, tears, and the kind of magic that only happens when life throws you a curveball. You're watching this because you're curious. Maybe you've typed heartwarming neighbor story or unexpected romance into that YouTube search bar, and I'm here to deliver the answer you're looking for. This isn't just a story. It's a reminder that sometimes the best things in life come when you least expect them, and I'm talking directly to you. Yes, you sitting there wondering if love, hope, or a little bit of magic could still find its way into your life. Let's dive into this tale together, and I guarantee you'll want to see it through to the very end to uncover the mystery of how a burnt pie led Ellie to her husband next door. Picture yourself in a small town just outside of Nashville, Tennessee, where the streets are lined with charming bungalows, kids ride bikes until the streetlights come on, and neighbors still wave to each other like it's the most natural thing in the world. It's 2018, and Ellie Thompson, a 29-year-old graphic designer with a knack for baking and a heart full of dreams, has just moved into her first-ever home, a fixer-upper she bought with every penny of her savings. Ellie's the kind of person you'd instantly like. Warm, a little quirky, with a laugh that makes you feel like you've known her forever. But here's the thing. She's been feeling a bit lost lately. After a string of bad dates and a career that's demanding more than it's giving, she's starting to wonder if the life she imagined for herself is ever going to happen. Maybe you can relate, you know? That feeling when you're trying so hard to get everything right, but life keeps throwing you off track? Ellie's poured her heart into making her new house a home, and tonight, she's decided to bake a cherry pie for the neighborhood block party. A chance to make a good impression on her new neighbors. She's got her apron on, her favorite playlist blasting, and she's feeling hopeful for the first time in weeks. But as the oven timer ticks down, something goes horribly wrong. The kitchen fills with smoke, the pie is a charred disaster, and Ellie's standing there, staring at the mess, wondering how her fresh start has already gone up in flames, literally. Have you ever had a moment like that, where you tried so hard, only to watch it all fall apart? Well, hold on to that feeling, because this is where the story takes a turn you won't see coming, and I'm going to need you to stick with me to find out how this life-changing moment unfolds. Now, let's talk about you for a second, because I know you're watching this video for a reason. Maybe you're here because you love a good neighbor romance, or maybe you're searching for a story that reminds you life can still surprise you in the best ways. I get it. Life can feel heavy sometimes, like you're stuck in a rut, wondering if the universe has any magic left for you. That's why I'm telling you Ellie's story, because it's not just about a burnt pie or a kind neighbor. It's about those unexpected moments that make you believe in second chances, in love, in the idea that the person who changes everything might be closer than you think. I'm talking to you, the person who's maybe had a rough day, or a rough year, and you're hoping for a story that lifts you up and makes you feel something real. This video is for you, and I'm going to walk you through every twist and turn of Ellie's journey, but I need you to promise me you'll stay until the end, because the answer to the mystery, how Ellie found her husband next door, is going to make your heart skip a beat. As Ellie stands in her smoky kitchen, tears prickling her eyes, she hears a knock at the door. Her first thought is panic. Who's showing up now, when she's a mess, her kitchen's a disaster, and her confidence is at an all-time low? But when she opens the door, there he is. Jack, her next-door neighbor, with a warm smile and a calmness that feels like a lifeline. Jack's a carpenter, in his early 30s, with a rugged charm and a quiet kindness that makes you feel safe without even trying. He's holding a fire extinguisher, half joking about the smoke he saw from his porch, but there's something in his eyes. Something that tells Ellie this moment is about to change everything. Have you ever met someone and just knew they were going to matter to you, even if you couldn't explain why? That's what Ellie feels, and it's what I want you to feel as we dive deeper into this story together. Let's set the scene a bit more, because I want you to feel like you're right there with Ellie, breathing in the smoky air and feeling the weight of her disappointment. Her little bungalow is cozy but cluttered, with paint cans still stacked in the corner from her ongoing renovations, and a pile of moving boxes she hasn't had the energy to unpack. The kitchen, where she's standing now, is her favorite place in the house. A space she dreamed of filling with homemade meals and laughter. But tonight, it's a battlefield of flour, cherry filling, and the acrid smell of failure. Ellie's not just upset about the pie. It's what it represents. She moved to this town for a fresh start, hoping to leave behind the doubts and heartaches of her past, but now she's wondering if she's made a huge mistake. Maybe you felt that way too, like you took a big leap, only to land flat on your face. That's where Ellie is when Jack knocks on her door, and I want you to imagine how it feels to be her in that moment. Vulnerable, embarrassed, but maybe, just maybe, on the edge of something extraordinary. Jack's not just any neighbor. He's the kind of guy who notices things, like the way Ellie's trying to hold it together, or the way her eyes light up when she talks about her dreams, even through her frustration. He offers to help, not just with the smoke but with the pie, suggesting they team up to make a new one for the block party. It's a small gesture, but it feels huge to Ellie, like someone's finally seeing her, really seeing her, for the first time in a long time. And here's where I'm going to pull you in even closer, because I know you're wondering, what's so special about Jack? Why does this moment matter so much? I'm not going to spoil it yet, but I promise you, this neighbor romance is going to hit all the feels, and you'll want to stick around to see how it unfolds.
Now, let's talk about the themes that make this story so special, because this isn't just about a burnt pie or a cute guy next door. It's about the messy, beautiful, unpredictable way life brings people together. One of the big themes here is second chances. Ellie's been through her share of disappointments, failed relationships, a job that's draining her creativity, and now this burnt pie that feels like the final straw. But Jack's arrival at her door is like a spark of hope, a reminder that even when things go wrong, something better might be waiting just around the corner. Another theme is community, the kind you find in a small town where neighbors aren't just strangers, but people who show up when you need them most. I know you're watching this because you love stories that make you feel connected, stories that remind you of the goodness in people, and that's exactly what this video is all about. I'm telling you Ellie's story because it's the kind of emotional journey that resonates with anyone who's ever felt like they're not quite where they're supposed to be, but they're still hoping for something more. And let's be real, you're here because you want to know how a burnt pie leads to a husband, right? I'm not going to give it all away just yet, but I'm going to keep you hooked by promising you this. Every twist in this story, every moment that makes your heart race or your eyes tear up, is building toward an answer that's going to make you smile and maybe even believe in love a little more. So, keep watching because we're just getting started, and I need you with me to see how Ellie and Jack's story unfolds. As Ellie lets Jack into her kitchen, there's this moment where time seems to slow down. The smoke is still lingering, her cheeks are flushed with embarrassment, but Jack's easygoing nature makes her feel like maybe, just maybe, this isn't the end of the world. He's not judging her for the mess. Instead, he's rolling up his sleeves, offering to help her salvage the evening. They start talking, and it's not just small talk. It's the kind of conversation that feels effortless, like they've known each other for years. Jack tells her about growing up in this town, about the woodworking projects he's been working on in his garage, and Ellie finds herself opening up about her dreams of starting her own design business, even though she's scared to take the leap. There's a chemistry between them, subtle but undeniable, and I know you can feel it too, because who hasn't dreamed of a moment like this? That unexpected connection with someone who just gets you? But here's where the mystery deepens, and I need you to pay close attention. As they're mixing dough for a new pie, Jack mentions something in passing, something about his own past that makes Ellie pause. It's a small detail, but it's enough to make her wonder if there's more to Jack than meets the eye. Is he just a kind neighbor? Or is there something deeper, something that's going to change Ellie's life in ways she can't even imagine? I'm not going to tell you what he said, not yet, because I want you to feel the same curiosity Ellie does, the same pull to know more. You're invested now, aren't you? I can tell, because you're still here, and I'm so glad you are, because this story is about to take you on a roller coaster of emotions, and I promise it's worth the ride. Let's zoom out for a moment and talk about why this story matters to you, the viewer. I know you're watching this on YouTube, maybe late at night, scrolling through videos looking for something that feels real, something that makes you laugh or cry, or just feel something. Maybe you're a hopeless romantic searching for unexpected love stories, Or maybe you're someone who loves a good, life-changing moment that reminds you life isn't all bad. Either way, I'm here to give you exactly what you came for. Ellie's story isn't just about her and Jack. It's about all of us, about the moments that catch us off guard and change the way we see the world. I'm talking directly to you because I know you've had moments like this, moments where a small act of kindness or a chance encounter made you feel like maybe the universe is on your side after all. That's what this video is about, and I'm going to keep you hooked by promising you that every detail, every laugh, every tear is leading to an answer that's going to make your heart soar. But I need you to stay with me, because the story's just getting started, and the mystery of how a burnt pie leads to a husband is going to unfold in ways you won't believe. As Ellie and Jack work side by side in her kitchen, laughing over spilled flour and swapping stories, something shifts. Ellie feels it, a spark, a possibility, a hint that this night might be the beginning of something bigger. But just as she's starting to let her guard down, there's another knock at the door. And this time, it's not a friendly neighbor. It's someone from Jack's past, someone who's about to turn this heartwarming moment upside down.
Who is it? What do they want?
And how is it going to change everything for Ellie? You're going to have to keep watching to find out, because this is where the story takes a turn you won't see coming, and I promise, it's going to keep you on the edge of your seat. Alright friends, let's pick up right where we left off, with that unexpected knock at Ellie's door shaking up what was starting to feel like a perfect moment. You're still with me, aren't you? I knew you would be, because this heartwarming story of a burnt pie and a kind neighbor is just getting juicier, and I'm here to guide you through every twist and turn of this emotional journey. Picture Ellie and Jack in her smoky kitchen, their laughter still hanging in the air as they knead dough for a new cherry pie, the kind of scene that makes you believe in neighbor romance and those life-changing moments that sneak up when you least expect them. Ellie's heart is fluttering, not just from the embarrassment of the burnt pie, but from the way Jack's easy smile and steady hands make her feel like she's not alone in her mess. But that knock at the door? It's like a record scratch, pulling her out of this warm, hopeful bubble and into something that feels like it could unravel everything. As Ellie wipes flour off her hands and glances at Jack, she notices a flicker of something in his eyes. Nervousness, maybe, or recognition, and it's enough to make her stomach twist. Who's at the door? Why does Jack look like he knows something she doesn't? I'm not going to spill the beans just yet, because this unexpected love story is about to get a whole lot more complicated, and I need you to stick with me to see how Ellie's night takes a turn toward a mystery that's going to keep you hooked. Let's dive deeper into this small-town tale, where every neighbor has a story, and every moment could change everything. As Ellie opens the door, her heart pounding just a little harder than it should, she's met with a woman standing on her porch, a woman who looks like she just stepped out of a magazine, with sleek blonde hair, a tailored coat, and an air of confidence that makes Ellie feel instantly underdressed in her flour-dusted apron. The woman introduces herself as Claire, her smile polite but sharp, like she's sizing Ellie up. Claire says she's an old friend of Jack's, just stopping by to say hello after hearing he was back in town. But there's something about the way she says old friend that feels loaded, like there's a history there Ellie can't quite read.
Jack, standing
Behind Ellie, goes quiet, his easygoing charm replaced by a tightness in his jaw that wasn't there before. Ellie's mind races. Why does this feel so awkward? Is Claire really just a friend, or is there something more to her sudden appearance? You know that feeling when you walk into a room and sense there's a story no one's telling you? That's exactly where Ellie is, caught between the warmth of her budding connection with Jack and the sudden chill of this new arrival. Claire's eyes flicker to the messy kitchen, the half-made pie on the counter, and she makes a comment about how cozy it all is, but her tone carries a hint of something else. Maybe amusement, maybe judgment. Ellie tries to laugh it off, inviting Claire in out of politeness, but the air in the room shifts, like a storm cloud rolling in on a sunny day. I want you to feel this tension, because it's the kind of moment that makes you lean forward, wondering what's going to happen next. This isn't just about a burnt pie anymore. It's about secrets, pasts, and the kind of unexpected love that comes with complications. Stay with me, because we're about to peel back some layers of this emotional roller coaster. Let's take a step back and get to know Ellie a bit better, because her story is what's driving this heartwarming journey, and I want you to feel like you're right there with her, rooting for her every step of the way. Ellie Thompson grew up in a bustling city, always dreaming of a quieter life where she could build something of her own. She's the kind of person who pours her heart into everything she does, whether it's sketching designs for her clients or trying to perfect her grandmother's cherry pie recipe. But moving to this small Tennessee town wasn't just about chasing a dream. It was about escaping a past that left her feeling like she wasn't enough. There was a guy back in the city, someone she thought was the one. But when that fell apart, it shook her confidence in a big way. Maybe you've been there, pouring your heart into something or someone, only to have it crumble. That's why Ellie's so determined to make this new chapter work, even if it means burning a pie or two along the way. Her little bungalow with its creaky floors and chipped paint is more than just a house. It's a symbol of her fresh start, a place where she hopes to find herself again. But as she stands there with Jack and Claire, the weight of that hope feels heavier than ever. Jack's kindness has sparked something in her, a flicker of possibility that maybe she's not as alone as she thought. But Claire's arrival is like a curveball, stirring up questions about Jack's past and what he's not telling her. I know you're curious, just like I am, about what Claire's really doing here and how it's going to shake up Ellie's world. This is the kind of life-changing moment that makes you keep watching, because you need to know what happens next. Now let's shift to Jack for a moment, because there's more to this kind neighbor than meets the eye, and I want you to feel the same pull Ellie does. The mix of trust and curiosity that makes you want to know everything about him. Jack Harper is a local through and through, born and raised in this sleepy town where everyone knows your name and your business. He's got that rugged, dependable vibe, with calloused hands from years of woodworking and a quiet strength that makes you feel like he's got your back. But there's a story behind those warm brown eyes, one he doesn't talk about much. Jack left town a few years ago, chasing a dream that didn't quite pan out. Something about a business venture that went south, though he's vague on the details. When he came back, he bought the house next to Ellie's, content to keep to himself and focus on his carpentry. But meeting Ellie, with her infectious laugh and her determination to start over, has stirred something in him he thought he'd buried. You ever meet someone who makes you want to be a little braver, a little better? That's what Ellie's doing to Jack, even if he's not ready to admit it. But Claire's sudden appearance is like a ghost from his past, and it's clear she knows things about him that Ellie doesn't. As Jack tries to keep the conversation light, steering Claire towards small talk, Ellie catches him glancing at the door, like he's wishing he could escape. What's he hiding? Why does Claire's presence make him so uneasy? I'm not going to give it away just yet, because this neighbor romance is about to get tangled in a web of secrets, and I need you to stay with me to see how it all unravels. Here's where the story gets even more intriguing, because there's a subplot bubbling under the surface that's going to add another layer to this emotional journey. Across the street, there's another neighbor, Mrs. Lillian Carter, a widowed retiree who's been watching Ellie and Jack from her porch with a knowing smile. Lillian's the kind of woman who's seen it all. Decades of love, loss, and everything in between, and she's got a knack for spotting connections before anyone else does. She's been in this town forever, and her house is like a time capsule, filled with old photos and stories of the neighborhood's history. Lillian's been keeping an eye on Ellie since she moved in, noticing the way she throws herself into her new life with a mix of hope and hesitation. But Lillian's also been watching Jack, and she knows more about his past than he realizes. There's a reason she's so invested in what's happening across the street, and it's not just because she loves a good love story. Lillian's got her own secrets, something about a promise she made years ago, something tied to Jack's family that could change the way Ellie sees him. Have you ever had a neighbor who seemed to know more than they let on, like they were holding on to a piece of the puzzle? That's Lillian, and her quiet presence is going to weave its way into this story in ways you won't expect. I want you to feel the same curiosity Ellie does, the same need to know what's going on behind the scenes, because this heartwarming story is about more than just two people. It's about a community where everyone's connected, whether they realize it or not. As the night unfolds, the tension in Ellie's kitchen keeps building, like a pot about to boil over. Claire's still there, sipping a glass of water and making polite conversation, but every word feels like it's laced with something unsaid. Ellie's trying to keep up, asking about Claire's connection to Jack, but the answers are vague. Something about working together years ago, nothing more. Jack's doing his best to keep things light, joking about the pie and offering to show Claire the door, but Ellie can tell he's on edge. And here's where another layer of mystery creeps in. Ellie notices a small tattoo on Claire's wrist, a tiny symbol that looks oddly familiar, like something she's seen before but can't quite place. It's a fleeting moment, but it sticks with her, like a clue she's not sure how to interpret. Have you ever had one of those moments where something small catches your eye and you just know it's important, even if you don't know why? That's where Ellie is, caught between the warmth of Jack's kindness and the unease of Claire's presence, with this tiny detail nagging at her. The pie's in the oven now, filling the kitchen with a sweet, hopeful smell, but the atmosphere is anything but sweet. Ellie's starting to wonder if moving to this town was a mistake, if the fresh start she dreamed of is about to get tangled in complications she didn't sign up for. But there's something about Jack, something about the way he looks at her, that makes her want to keep going, to see where this night leads. You're feeling it too, aren't you? That pull to know more, to see if this unexpected love is worth the risk? I promise you, it's going to be an emotional roller coaster, and you'll want to stick around for what happens next. Let's talk about you for a second, because I know you're watching this video for a reason. Maybe you're here because you love a good neighbor romance, or maybe you're searching for a story that reminds you life can still surprise you with those life-changing moments. I get it. Sometimes you just need a story that feels real, that makes you laugh and cry and root for the characters like they're your friends. That's why I'm telling you Ellie's story, because it's not just about her and Jack. It's about all of us, about the way life throws us curveballs and asks us to keep swinging. I'm talking directly to you, the person who's maybe had a rough day or a tough year, and you're hoping for a story that lifts you up and makes you believe in second chances. This video is for you, and I'm going to keep you hooked by promising you that every twist, every secret, every moment of connection is building towards something that's going to make your heart soar. But I need you to stay with me, because the mystery of Claire, the tattoo, and Lillian's quiet watchfulness is about to deepen. As Ellie pulls the new pie from the oven, golden and perfect, she feels a rush of pride, but it's short-lived. Claire's phone buzzes, and she steps outside to take the call, leaving Ellie and Jack alone for a moment. Jack takes a deep breath, like he's about to say something important, but before he can, Claire comes back, her face pale, her voice sharp. "We need to talk," she says to Jack, and the look in her eyes tells Ellie this isn't just about catching up. What does Claire know? What's Jack not telling her? And how is this going to change everything? You're going to have to keep watching, because this heartwarming story is about to take a turn that'll leave you speechless. Alright, my friends, you're still here, and I'm so glad because this heartwarming story of a burnt pie and a kind neighbor is about to take a wild turn that's going to leave you gasping. We're right back in Ellie's kitchen, where the sweet smell of a freshly baked cherry pie is battling the tension that's thick enough to cut with a knife. Jack's standing there, his warm brown eyes clouded with something unspoken as Claire, the polished blonde who showed up out of nowhere, demands to talk to him with a tone that makes Ellie's stomach churn. That moment when Claire stepped back inside, her face pale and her voice sharp, saying, "We need to talk," hit like a thunderclap, and you can feel Ellie's world teetering on the edge of something big. You know that feeling when you're caught in a moment that's about to change everything, and you're not sure if you're ready for it? That's where Ellie is, her heart racing as she tries to piece together the puzzle of Jack's past and Claire's sudden appearance. I'm talking to you, the viewer who's been searching for an emotional journey, maybe typing neighbor romance or unexpected love into that YouTube search bar. Because I know you're hooked on this life-changing moment and you need to know what happens next. This isn't just about a pie or a kind neighbor anymore. It's about secrets unraveling, stakes climbing higher, and a twist that's going to make your jaw drop. Stick with me, because this emotional roller coaster is about to hit a curve you won't see coming, and I promise it's going to keep you glued to the screen. As Claire pulls Jack aside, her voice low but urgent, Ellie busies herself with the pie, pretending to check its golden crust but really straining to catch their hushed conversation. She's not one to eavesdrop, but there's something about Claire's intensity, the way her eyes dart toward Ellie like she's an intruder in her own kitchen, that makes her feel like she's stumbled into a story she wasn't meant to hear. Jack's responses are clipped, his usual easygoing charm replaced by a guarded edge that makes Ellie's heart sink. She catches fragments of their talk, something about promises and not telling her yet, and it's enough to send her mind spiraling. Who's her? Is it Ellie? And what's Jack keeping from her? The warmth of their earlier laughter, when they were kneading dough and swapping stories, feels like a distant memory now, replaced by a gnawing sense that Jack's not the simple carpenter next door she thought he was. You've been there, haven't you? That moment when you realize someone you're starting to care about might be hiding something big? Ellie's trying to hold on to the hope that Jack's kindness is real, but Claire's presence is like a shadow creeping over her fresh start. And then, just when she thinks it can't get more complicated, there's another sound. A soft creak from the back porch, like someone's out there, listening. Ellie freezes, her hand on the pie tin, and glances at Jack, who's too caught up with Claire to notice. Is it just the old house settling, or is someone else out there, watching this whole scene unfold? I want you to feel the same chill Ellie does, because this neighbor romance is turning into a mystery that's going to keep you on the edge of your seat. Let's dive into that twist, Because this is where the stakes skyrocket and the story takes a turn you didn't see coming. As Ellie steps toward the back door, her curiosity outweighing her nerves, she opens it to find none other than Mrs. Lillian Carter, the widowed neighbor from across the street, standing there with a sheepish smile and a small, weathered journal clutched in her hands. Lillian, with her silver hair and eyes that seem to hold a lifetime of stories, looks caught, like she didn't expect to be seen. Ellie's heart pounds. Why is Lillian here, creeping around her porch in the middle of the night? Lillian quickly explains she was just dropping off a welcome gift, but the journal in her hands and the way her eyes flicker toward Jack tell Ellie there's more to it. Lillian's been a quiet presence in this story, watching from her porch with that knowing smile, but now she's stepping into the spotlight, and it's clear she's carrying a piece of the puzzle. She hesitates, then hands Ellie the journal, saying it belonged to Jack's mother, who was her best friend years ago. You should read it, Lillian says softly, her voice heavy with meaning, but not tonight. Wait until you're ready. Ellie's fingers brush the worn leather cover, and that same symbol she saw on Claire's wrist, the one that felt oddly familiar, is etched faintly on the journal's spine. What is this symbol? Why does it keep showing up? And how is it tied to Jack, Claire, and now Lillian? You're feeling it, right? That itch to know more, to flip open that journal and uncover the secrets it holds? This is the kind of life-changing moment that makes this story so gripping, and I need you to stay with me, because we're nowhere near the end of this emotional journey. Let's zoom out for a moment and deepen the subplot with Lillian, because her role in this heartwarming story is about to add a whole new layer of intrigue. Lillian Carter isn't just the sweet old lady next door who knits sweaters and waters her roses. She's a keeper of the town's history, someone who's seen love bloom and hearts break in this neighborhood for decades. Her connection to Jack's family goes back years, to a time when Jack's mother, Sarah, was her closest confidant. Sarah was a dreamer, much like Ellie, but her life was cut short in a way that left whispers and unanswered questions in the town. Lillian's never talked about it, not to Jack or anyone else, but that journal she just handed Ellie? It's filled with Sarah's words, dreams, fears, and maybe even secrets that could explain why Jack left town and what brought him back. Lillian's been watching Ellie and Jack with more than just neighborly interest. She's been waiting for a moment like this, a chance to pass on something she's been holding on to for too long. But why now? And why is she so hesitant to tell Ellie everything? There's a weight to Lillian's actions, a sense that she's playing a bigger role in this neighbor romance than anyone realizes. Maybe you've had someone in your life like Lillian, someone who seems to know more than they let on, guiding you toward a truth you're not sure you're ready for. That's where Ellie is, holding this journal that feels like a ticking time bomb, wondering if she's about to uncover something that could shatter the connection she's starting to feel with Jack. Back in the kitchen, the tension between Jack and Claire is reaching a boiling point, and Ellie's return with Lillian's journal only makes it worse. Claire's eyes lock onto the journal, and for a split second, her polished facade cracks, revealing something like fear, or maybe anger. Jack notices too, and he steps forward, his voice low but firm, asking Lillian what she's doing here. Lillian doesn't back down, her gaze steady as she says, "Some things need to come to light, Jack. You can't keep running from them." It's a cryptic statement, and it hits Ellie like a punch. What is Jack running from? Is it tied to Claire, to the journal, to that mysterious symbol that keeps popping up? Ellie's mind is racing, trying to connect the dots, but every answer seems to lead to more questions. She's starting to wonder if moving to this town, with its tight-knit community and hidden histories, was more than she bargained for. But there's something about Jack, his quiet strength, the way he looked at her when they were laughing over the pie, that makes her want to believe in him, even as doubt creeps in. You know that feeling, don't you? When your heart wants to trust someone, but your head is screaming that there's more to the story. That's where Ellie is, caught in this emotional roller coaster, and I want you to feel every bit of her confusion and hope, because this unexpected love story is about to get even more complicated. Let's talk about Claire for a moment, because her presence is like a storm cloud over this heartwarming tale, and I know you're dying to know what she's hiding. Claire's not just an old friend of Jack's, that much is clear. The way she carries herself, with that calculated confidence and those sharp knowing glances, suggests she's used to being in control. But there's something desperate in her eyes when she looks at Jack, something that hints at a past they haven't fully left behind. Ellie catches Claire slipping her phone into her pocket after that mysterious call, and there's a moment where their eyes meet. A silent challenge, like Claire's daring Ellie to ask questions she's not ready to answer. Ellie's no pushover, but she's out of her depth here, trying to navigate this sudden intrusion into what was supposed to be a simple night. Claire's mention of working with Jack years ago doesn't add up, Not when every word feels like it's hiding something bigger. And that tattoo on her wrist, the one that matches the symbol on the journal? It's like a thread tying this whole mystery together. And Ellie's starting to feel like she's unraveling something much larger than a neighbor romance. Have you ever stumbled across a clue that made you question everything you thought you knew? That's Ellie's world right now, and I'm betting you're just as curious as she is to figure out what's going on. This is the kind of life-changing moment that keeps you watching, because you need to know how it all connects. I want to bring you back to you, the viewer, because I know you're here for a reason. Maybe you're scrolling through YouTube, looking for a story that hits all the feels. Something that makes you laugh, cry, and believe in the magic of unexpected love. Maybe you typed heartwarming story or small-town romance into that search bar, hoping for a tale that reminds you life can still surprise you. I get it, because we all need stories like this. Stories that make us feel connected, that remind us even the messiest moments can lead to something beautiful. I'm telling you Ellie's story because it's not just about her, Jack, Claire, or even Lillian. It's about all of us, about the way life throws us into situations we didn't plan for and asks us to find our way through. I'm talking to you, the person who's maybe had a tough day or just wants to believe in second chances, because this video is for you. I'm going to keep you hooked by promising that every twist, every secret, every heartbeat of this story is building towards something that's going to make your heart race. But I need you to stay with me, because the stakes are higher than ever, and the climax is just around the corner. As Ellie clutches the journal, her eyes darting between Jack, Claire, and Lillian, she feels the weight of a truth she's not sure she's ready to face. And then, out of nowhere, the lights in the house flicker, plunging the kitchen into darkness for a split second. When they come back on, Claire's gone, the back door swinging open, and Jack's face is pale as he stares at the journal in Ellie's hands. What did Claire run from? What's in that journal that's so dangerous? And how is it going to change everything for Ellie and Jack? You're going to have to keep watching, because this heartwarming story just took a turn into the unknown, and it's going to leave you breathless. Alright, friends, you've stuck with me through this heartwarming story of a burnt pie and a kind neighbor, and I'm so thrilled you're here because we're about to hit the climax of Ellie's emotional journey, where secrets unravel, hearts collide, and an unexpected twist will leave you in awe. Picture Ellie standing in her kitchen, the lights flickering back on after that eerie moment of darkness, the journal from Lillian clutched in her hands, its worn leather cover feeling heavier than it should. Claire's gone, the back door swinging open like she couldn't get out fast enough, and Jack's face is pale, his eyes locked on the journal as if it holds the key to everything he's been running from. The air is thick with tension, the sweet smell of the cherry pie now a faint backdrop to the storm brewing in Ellie's little bungalow. Lillian's still there, her expression a mix of resolve and regret, like she knows she's just set something in motion that can't be undone. Ellie's heart is pounding, caught between the spark she felt with Jack, the mystery of Claire's sudden exit, and the weight of this journal that seems to tie it all together. You know that moment when you're standing on the edge of a truth that could change everything? That's where Ellie is, and I'm talking to you, the viewer who's been searching for neighbor romance or unexpected love on YouTube, because this life-changing moment is about to deliver the answers you've been waiting for. This emotional roller coaster has been building to a climax that's going to tug at your heartstrings. And I need you to stay with me to see how Ellie finds her husband next door, and how one final twist turns this heartwarming story into something unforgettable. Ellie's fingers tremble as she opens the journal, unable to resist the pull of its secrets any longer. Jack steps forward, his voice soft but urgent, asking her to wait, but Lillian places a gentle hand on his arm, her eyes pleading for him to let this moment happen. The pages are filled with Sarah's handwriting, Jack's mother. Her words a mix of dreams, confessions, and a story that Ellie never expected. Sarah writes about a love she lost, a man who left town when Jack was just a boy, and a promise she made to protect a secret that could hurt her son if it ever came to light. Ellie's eyes scan the pages, and there it is, the symbol, drawn in faded ink, a small star with a crescent moon inside it. It's the same symbol on Claire's wrist, the same one etched on the journal's spine, and as Ellie reads further, her breath catches. Sarah's secret wasn't just about a lost love, it was about a family heirloom, a locket with that same symbol, passed down through generations, tied to a promise of love and loyalty. But there's more. Sarah mentions a business partner who betrayed her, someone who took the locket and disappeared, leaving her heartbroken. Ellie's mind races. Could Claire be connected to this betrayal? Is that why she ran? And why does Jack look like he's carrying the weight of the world? You're feeling it, aren't you? That rush of piecing together a puzzle, only to realize there's still one piece missing? Ellie looks up at Jack, her voice shaking as she asks, "Is Claire the one Sarah wrote about? What aren't you telling me?" This is the climax, The moment where this neighbor romance teeters on the edge of truth, and I know you're leaning in, desperate to know how it all comes together. Jack takes a deep breath, his shoulders slumping as if he's finally letting go of something he's held onto for too long. He starts to explain, his voice low and steady, but every word feels like it's pulling him apart. Years ago, when he was in his 20s, Jack got caught up in a business venture with Claire. A woodworking shop they started together, funded by a loan tied to his mother's locket, which he'd given to Claire as collateral without fully understanding its significance. Claire wasn't just a business partner. She was someone he thought he loved, someone he trusted, until she disappeared with the locket and the money, leaving him to face the fallout alone. That's why he left town, why he came back broken, trying to rebuild his life in the quiet of this small Tennessee town. The journal, he admits, was something his mother left behind, but he never had the courage to read it, too afraid of facing the pain of her loss. Lillian, standing quietly by, nods, her eyes soft with understanding. She reveals that she promised Sarah to keep the journal safe until the right moment, and when she saw Ellie and Jack together, she knew it was time. The locket, Lillian says, wasn't just a family heirloom, it was a symbol of trust, and Sarah believed it would find its way back to someone who deserved it. Ellie's heart aches as she listens, realizing that Jack's kindness, his quiet strength, comes from a place of healing, just like her own. But Claire's sudden appearance and her tattoo, proof she still has the locket, means she's back for a reason, and it's not just to catch up. You're right there with Ellie, aren't you? Feeling the weight of this revelation, wondering how this unexpected love can survive a past that's crashing into the present? Here's where the main conflict starts to resolve, but hold on, because we're not done yet. Ellie, clutching the journal, feels a surge of clarity. She's been running from her own past, afraid to trust again after her heartbreak in the city, but Jack's honesty, his vulnerability, makes her want to take a chance. She looks at him, really looks at him, and sees not just the kind neighbor who helped her bake a pie, but a man who's been hurt, just like her, and is still standing. She hands him the journal, her voice steady as she says, "You need to read this. Not for me but for you." It's a moment of connection, a turning point in this heartwarming story, where Ellie chooses to trust, to believe in the possibility of love despite the messiness of their pasts. Jack takes the journal, his fingers brushing hers, and for the first time that night, he smiles, a real, unguarded smile that makes Ellie's heart skip. Lillian, watching from the sidelines, wipes a tear from her eye, her subplot coming full circle as she fulfills her promise to Sarah. But just as this neighbor romance seems to find its footing, the back door creaks open again, and there's Claire, her face no longer polished but raw, holding the locket in her hand. She didn't run far, she was outside, wrestling with her own guilt. "I came to give this back," she says, her voice breaking, "and to say I'm sorry." The room goes silent, and Ellie's eyes widen as she realizes Claire's not here to cause trouble. She's here to make amends. But why now? And what does this mean for Ellie and Jack? This is the resolution you've been waiting for, but I'm not letting you off the hook yet, because there's one final twist that's going to make this emotional journey unforgettable. Here's the twist that's going to leave you in awe, and I want you to brace yourself, because it's a game changer. As Claire steps forward, placing the locket on the counter, she reveals something no one expected. She's not just tied to Jack's past, she's tied to Ellie's too. That symbol, the star with the crescent moon, wasn't just a family heirloom for Jack's mother. It was a design Ellie's grandmother sketched years ago, a keepsake from a friendship between their families that Ellie never knew about. Claire, it turns out, grew up in the same city as Ellie, and their paths crossed indirectly through a charity auction where Ellie's grandmother donated a piece of jewelry with that same symbol. Claire bought it, not knowing its full history, and later connected with Jack through their business venture, where the locket became a painful link between their families. She's been carrying the guilt of taking it, of breaking Jack's trust, and when she heard he was back in town, she came to return it, and to make peace with her own past. Ellie's mind reels as she processes this, realizing that the universe has woven their stories together in ways she never imagined. The locket, the journal, the symbol, they're not just pieces of Jack's story, they're part of hers too. Have you ever had a moment where life feels like it's come full circle, where the people you meet seem destined to be in your life? That's what Ellie's feeling, and I know you're feeling it too, because this small-town romance just became a story of fate, forgiveness, and second chances. As the night winds down, the resolution settles over Ellie's kitchen like a warm blanket. Jack reads the journal, his eyes glistening as he connects with his mother's words, finding closure in her love for him. Claire, unburdened by her confession, leaves quietly, promising to stay in touch but giving Jack and Ellie the space to move forward. Lillian, her promise to Sarah fulfilled, squeezes Ellie's hand and heads back across the street. Her role as the keeper of secrets complete. Ellie and Jack sit at the kitchen table, the cherry pie between them, and share a quiet moment that feels like the start of something new. It's not just about the pie or the locket anymore. It's about two people who found each other in the mess of their pasts, who chose to trust when it would have been easier to walk away. Ellie realizes that her fresh start in this town wasn't just about a new house. It was about finding a home in someone else's heart. And Jack, for the first time in years, feels like he can stop running. You're smiling, aren't you? Because this is the kind of heartwarming story that reminds you love can bloom in the most unexpected places, like a neighbor's doorstep or a smoky kitchen. But the takeaway here, the thing I want you to carry with you, is this. Life's messy, full of burnt pies and buried secrets, but sometimes, those messes lead you to the people who make it all worthwhile. Let's talk about you, the viewer, because I know you're here for a reason. Maybe you typed unexpected love or life-changing moment into that YouTube search bar, looking for a story that makes you feel connected, hopeful, alive. I get it. We all need stories that remind us of the magic in everyday moments, the way a kind neighbor or a shared laugh can change everything. I'm telling you Ellie's story because it's for you, the person who's maybe had a tough day or just wants to believe in love and second chances. This emotional journey, this neighbor romance, is a reminder that life has a way of surprising you, of bringing people into your life when you need them most. As Ellie and Jack cut into that cherry pie, laughing softly as they share a slice, you can feel the warmth of their connection, the promise of a future they'll build together. And that final twist, the way their families were connected all along, leaves you with a sense of wonder, like the universe was always working to bring them together. So, what's next for Ellie and Jack? Well, that's a story for another day, but I promise you, it's one worth imagining. Thank you for sticking with me through this heartwarming tale, for letting me take you on this roller coaster of love, secrets, and second chances. Hit that like button, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you loved about Ellie's story, because I know you're as in love with it as I am.